Hey, what's going on, guys? Mr. Jaffe here. Just gonna talk. This is the first video that I'm gonna do about our drugs and alcohol lesson. Just gonna be a review of some of the stuff that we learned today, and also talk about some of the stuff that we haven't got to yet. So, as we learned today, alcohol is a type of drug. A drug is a substance that changes the structure or functions of the body or mind. We learned about some drugs before, some drugs that can actually help you. Alcohol often is times is a drug that hurt you, that can hurt you. Alcohol is a substance produced by a chemical reaction in carbohydrates. Um, Alcohol, as of right now, is illegal to you guys. You cannot drink alcohol in the United States until you are over the age of 21, although it is different in a couple other countries. Alcohol actually has a lot of effects on the body. It begins to affect the body system pretty soon after it enters into the body, as soon as it's consumed. Usually, alcohol is drank. Um, I have heard of it being inhaled before, but typical use in America is it is drinking. Um, what happens a lot of times when you use alcohol is people get sometimes they get feelings, they can get depressed, they can um, get very manic. There's a lot of different there's a lot of different reactions that people can have to alcohol, and sometimes it's very variable. Sometimes they do have really good feelings, but sometimes they feel a lot of problems. Oftentimes, with people do alcohol, they when drink alcohol, they do things that they regret. There's a lot of problems that alcohol can have, and a lot of bad effects that it can have over the body. For one thing, people who drink alcohol too much can develop stomach ulcers. This is extra acid that actually causes sores in the stomach lining that results in excessive drinking and alcohol. Heavy drinkers are risk of developing cirrhosis, which is just destruction and scarring of liver tissue. Alcohol can really affect your liver, as we talked about today, um, pretty bad, and can really mess it up. And some people actually have to have liver transplants, and some people can even die of drinking too much alcohol. It's actually not uncommon in the United States, especially among college students who consume large amounts of alcohol some of the time. Not all college students, but it is a time where people are learning more about themselves, and some people make some really bad mistakes in college. So we're going to learn how to not make those mistakes. In addition, alcohol also has some effects on the brain. When alcohol reaches the brain, it actually slows down the body's function as well as its reaction time. Reaction time is how long it takes a person to respond to a situation. Someone who's drinking alcohol, it's going to take them a little bit longer to respond to a situation. So, for example, anyone who's drinking alcohol and playing sports is not going to be as good at that sport because the reactions are going to be a lot slower. Um, in addition, people who have slow reaction time are going to be very dangerous behind the wheel of the car. I'm sure you guys have seen commercials for against drinking and driving. Drinking and driving is a huge problem, and people who get behind the wheel after drinking are not only a danger to themselves, but they're a big danger to everyone else around them. Um, Drinking alcohol also makes it hard for people to think as well as speak. People who are drunk often have slurred speech, um, or kind of talking a little bit funny. If you ever heard someone who is drinking a lot of alcohol before, and person who's under the influence of alcohol is more likely, like I said before, to engage in high risk behavior that can get them in a lot of trouble. People make a lot of bad decisions while they're drinking, um, that can affect them for the rest of their lives. Uh, One thing, uh, you can be there are different effects that alcohol can last have on you. Um, the way that person reacts to alcohol, for one, depends on their blood alcohol level, or the blood alcohol content, I should say, or also called the BAC, what we talked about today again. This is a measure of the amount of alcohol present in a person's blood. It's expressed as a percentage. A BAC of 0.002 will cause most people to feel lightheaded. A BAC of 0.08 presents interference with a person's ability to drive a car safely. Um, Anything below 0.08, you're allowed to drive a car. Anything over and it's illegal, and you can get arrested, and you can be thrown in jail, and a lot of other problems can come to it. A BAC of point 40 can lead to death a lot of the times. And I remember, if you guys remember, we talked about tolerance before. A person's tolerance does affect how alcohol affects them too. People have higher tolerance. It will take them a little bit more to drink, to get drunk, as some people call it. Um, and they actually may be able to control themselves a little bit better. Someone who doesn't drink alcohol that much. Other things that alcohol can affect. It can affect a person's, um, excuse me, um, things that can affect your BAC include a body weight. Someone who weighs less can get drunk a lot quicker. Each drink is going to affect them a lot more if they weigh less, because each drink is more to them. Someone who's heavier, the alcohol each beer isn't gonna or drink isn't gonna affect them as much, because as it's want more space to cover in the body. Um, Also, person's rate of consumption, like I said, uh, can also affect how the person reacts. The amount that someone has eaten also affects it. People who drink on a empty stomach are more likely to feel the effects of alcohol a lot quicker. When you're eating before you're drinking, it actually will the food can absorb the alcohol, and it takes longer for people to feel the effects of alcohol when they drink beforehand. But no matter what, alcohol is a really, really dangerous drug, and a dangerous substance, I should say. And until you're 21, you should not be drinking alcohol. Once in a while, some people, parents may offer you something at Christmas or maybe some type of religious holiday. Um, but as a general rule, you never want to be drinking with friends or anything like that until you're the age of 21, because you can get in a lot of trouble. And myself, going to Westchester, I know a lot of my friends, um, and people that I've seen in my dorm and around campus that have gotten a lot of trouble drinking alcohol, or have gotten underages, what's called, when the police catch you drinking or being drunk in a public place, or even in your own private home if they can catch you there. People get in a lot of trouble. They pay a lot of fines, uh, suspension of your driving sometimes. You get in trouble. I've even known someone to get kicked out of school for getting too many underages. So, again, you do the crime, you often do the time. So stay away from it, kids. Um, that's pretty much it for today on alcohol. I know that was a pretty quick overview. So come back tomorrow, and I'll have another lesson for you guys. All right, see ya.